My name is Agatha Carter. I'm going to be a junior at Alabama this next year, so I'm a little bit younger. This was my first internship or experience in school, so first time working in a plant. It was great. Great plant to start out at, that's for sure. It sets the bar high. But I worked in the utilities and partly bio in Evonik. And my mentor is John Ellenberg. He's the plant engineer in utilities. They're actually in Houston right now for a conference, so they couldn't be here, but it was great. And that's just a picture of where utilities is. I didn't want to get too in-depth with my pictures. Okay, this is a little long, but I'll give you the gist. So my main project for utilities was to redesign a pump that transferred water from the emergency pond in bio to the equalization pond in bio. And the reason we needed this extra pump is because when it rains, which is all the time in Mobile, the emergency pond gets really full. So we have to transfer that water to the equalization pond. It seems really, really simple, but this whole operation has broken a seal on a pump about 3 times, which has cost them a lot of money for a really simple operation. So we had to decide if we were going to replace our submerged pump in our emergency pond, or if we were going to put another extra pump and kind of help boost that capacity to get that water from emergency pond to equalization pond. So I was like, seems pretty simple, but there were a lot of factors that actually went into it, and we're actually still working on it. Thankfully, I have another week, so kind of extended it until the last minute before I went back to school. And this is a picture. So emergency pond right here, equalization pond right there. So close, but the water has to get over there somehow. So right now our submerged pump is that little bitty black pipe up there, and the pump is just simply not big enough to suffice to get water from point A to point B. So our options were, of course, to replace it or get an extra one. And the pump that had the seal to keep breaking was one of these big pumps outside of the pond. And that pump is actually not meant to transfer water from here to there. It's actually meant to transfer water from one end of bio to the other end of bio. So it was breaking seal, obviously, so having to replace that often. So we made a timeline for this pump redesign at the beginning of my internship so I could kind of see what a project overview would be. So our first steps were to sit down with John and to look at our 2 options, a new pump or to replace the one that was already there with a bigger one. So after that, we had to do designing for it, which meant that I designed the process flow diagrams, which were pretty simple for each one, using Visio. It was my first time using Visio as well. And then we had to calculate head and MPSH for both of these, which I had never done that in school, so that was great. I'm chemical, my mentor's mechanical, so it was really cool getting to see both sides of that. And then, of course, piping isometrics for each, which I got to work with some great people outside of utilities for this project to kind of pull in their input and get some work done by them. Of course, the pricing came right after that. We had to price the pumps themselves by calling vendors. We had to get the mechanical and piping installation, which came from a construction manager which was the one that did our piping isometrics, who was great. And then electrical engineer handled the electrical, simple instrumentation and DCS are what we're working on right now to kind of finalize the project next week and submit our recommendation to our superintendent and see what they decide. Hopefully they'll decide before I get to leave, but if not, I'll keep in touch with them so that they can let me know which one they decide. So submit my recommendation and then approval. That will be next week. So for the pumps, the cost comparison. So to replace the submerged sump pump, which is what's in the pod now, we of course needed a bigger one, and so called vendors and got that worked out. So you can see the price at the top for that one, and then putting an extra pump outside of the pond. Got the price for that one. Obviously, a huge price difference, but it seemed pretty obvious to me which choice to pick. But there are several factors that go into it as well. So for the whole grand scheme of things, we have an estimate right now for pricing because we haven't exactly finished the whole pricing scheme of it yet. That's next week when we sit down and kind of the exact pricing. So for the submerged pump, we estimated $50 to and for the pump that we would set outside the pond would be $80,000 to $100,000. And then there are several factors to consider before submitting our recommendation to our superintendent. For the extra pump, there's actually another pump needing to be added outside of this pond right now. So it would kind of be like tackle two projects with one, getting all the construction done for that. And then we would have the ability to turn this pump on and off. It would be outside of the pond. So we could, when we needed it when it was raining, turn it on the controlling. When we didn't need it when it wasn't raining, we could turn it off. And then of course, accessibility to the pump. It would be outside the pond rather than in the pond, so it would be easier to get to do maintenance on and other things. And for the submerged pump was of course the price difference, a little bit cheaper there. And only having to control the one pump instead of two. So just turning that pump on, it would always have the capacity if it rained. Kind of not having to worry about option number two if it started raining. So, and then of course, final pricing recommendation being made next week. So my additional projects, I actually worked with Plant Doc as well. That is what took me my entire internship. The pump project actually was not as tedious as the Plant Doc, but all of our equipment files and project files for utilities is actually over in the bio building, and that's something they have to fix after I'm gone. I couldn't get it all done in one summer. But so going through the equipment files, getting them organized, they were kind of everywhere, so got them organized physically, and then getting them scanned to put into the computer in our shared drive, and then getting them organized into Plant Doc under functional locations for each piece of equipment. And then having to do that for the project files, go through the project files that haven't been touched in years and seeing which piece of equipment it was for, seeing where to put it in Plant Doc under which functional location. So that was a task in itself as well. So once I loaded all of the scanned equipment files and project files on my computer in the shared drive, we loaded them onto Plant Doc. And that is finally done. We're so thankful. But my next big thing was redlining and kind of mapping out P&IDs. All of our P&IDs are kind of a mess in utilities. We're trying to get them together. That's like a big deal for them right now. And so I worked on the cooling towers. We have a north and south basin, and then we just got a new cooling tower. So I got to map out all of those P&IDs to kind of correct them, make sure everything was okay. Our natural gas P&ID, our caustic P&ID for the north and south site, our wastewater header, which is actually part of bio, the carbon water tank, which is a new tank our assistant superintendent got put in before she left, and then the biofeeds in North Ponds, and the processed water P&ID. So those are really cool because I actually got to go out into the plant and see like what the process was, what was going on, and kind of navigate my way through it without somebody saying, this is what this is what this is. So I kind of got to do that on my own. And then I did some work for our electrical engineer, and well, there's two of them in utilities. I had to kind of get a list of functional locations from him that needed to be in Plant Doc that weren't yet. So I got those from him, got them organized in a way that I could send them to the person to add them into Plant Doc, because I don't have that right in Plant Doc. But so we got that done for them, and then they had files for the electrical side of utilities that I added in Plant Doc as well. So lots of work in Plant Doc. And then lastly, what I've been working on this week is editing electrical meter reports in their software. So they kind of sat me down and showed me their software for our electrical engineers, and totally out of my range, but they were like, this is what we're doing, this is what our meter reports do, this is what they say, and they had to be edited, like, had to edit the time frequencies for when they are reported and when reports are made, and so that's all done in their software. So just lots of organizing and changing of those reports. So lots of computer work there. And then I retrieved technical data needed for various projects from vendors. So different projects done by different engineers in utilities. I got to call vendors and say, we have this pump information, we need all the technical data on it. I got to do that a lot. So lots of contacting with vendors, which was new for me as well, so that was great. Okay, and some impacts from my projects. From the pump design project, and of course reduce problems with seal failures on the current pumps that were there outside of the pond. So we didn't have to replace those as often. We increased the efficiency of the transfer of water from one pond to the other. Seems simple, but it was causing so many problems. So once they decide which pump it should, handle that issue and shouldn't have to deal with it again. And then in plant doc, it of course decreased the time lost during projects trying to find this equipment documentation. Like I said, some of it hasn't been touched for years, so when doing projects and needing some old information on a tank that's been there forever, it's hard to find and go from utilities to the buyer to find these equipment files. So now they're online and easy to look up by the functional location, which is really nice. And then of course decreased time used to travel from utilities to bio. Increase the usage of these project files and equipment files instead of just saying, oh, we don't have it, let's just call the vendor, or let's just assume. It's saying, hey, we have this documentation, let's put it to use, let's make sure that it's being used in the right way. And of course, it increased the organization of utilities. And then for redlining P&IDs, it reduced lost time trying to get correct information from the plant instead of just looking at the P&ID. So when doing a project, one of the P&IDs I corrected was for a project. He needed it to make sure that something was right, and he couldn't trust the P&ID. And so that was the whole issue behind why the P&IDs were incorrect, and kept trying to get them corrected in our master set of them. So when doing a project, you can look at the P&ID and know it's right and kind of go from there. And then editing the electrical meter reports, it increases the efficiency of the reports themselves and saves the engineers a lot of time, because that was the entire week to do just those meter reports, and they had a lot more stuff to do, so they were pretty thankful to have that done. So saying thank you to John, who couldn't be here, and the Utilities Department at Evonik for this amazing opportunity to further my education, and thank you, of course, to APC for the opportunity. You can get to do this. And that's it.